What I'm looking to do then is, from launch, create a scene, a landscape with dunes in it, perhaps some mountains. As things stand then, launched, we've got the default Bryce sky and the camera, and I've placed it so it's facing north, and I'm going to get rid of the infinite plane, so we've just got an empty scene. I'll bring in from the create menu a terrain, and holding down the Ctrl key so it comes in without any materials of its own, I've created a terrain to work with, and then I'll edit that terrain. The first thing I'll do is I'll make it solid. This helps with the rendering of bumpy materials, and also I'm going to increase the resolution, set the fractal to rounded dunes, because this seems an appropriate fractal to use for a dune landscape. What I'm looking for is something like this, a fairly high resolution pattern, and high frequency pattern, low resolution. I'm going to increase the size of that and rotate it round 45 degrees and place the camera over the corner, and this will allow me, after I've shrunk the height of the dunes down a bit, to make the most of the terrains that I've got in front of me. So here we go, there's our dunes. This foreground dune's getting a bit in the way, so I'm going to try the bottom left hand corner, where the way that the terrain comes in, it is aligned with the height map, so you can work out which corner you're in, and then that allows you to paint in features. So I just rotate again round to the left, that'll give me the top left hand corner. I'm just trying to find one of the corners that looks pretty good for the foreground. Okay, we'll say this is the rotated round, so that's the top right hand corner, and move the camera down towards the surface. So this is our dunes in the foreground. We've got this gap between the dunes and the horizon which needs to be filled in, which you can use the same terrain for. So if I Ctrl C, Ctrl V, then I'll enlarge the terrain so it's a bit bigger than the other one, and if I rotate it round again clockwise, that'll be the bottom right hand corner. So if I edit that, I can use the paint control here to scrub out the bottom right hand corner, and this will mean I can interface the two terrains. So oh, that's obviously got lost with the corners, so I'll just rotate it round until that flattened section is under the camera, then reduce the height of the dune somewhat and place that so that the corner's there again, and if I have to, I can narrow the field of view so I'm not seeing past the edge of that terrain, and that I still see past the edge there. That should fill in the horizon section for me, so I'll just move that around a bit. I can always increase the foreground one. So now we've got a selection of dunes that runs all the way to the horizon. So we'll select both those terrains now and add an appropriate material. If you've got Bryce 7, you've got these pro materials supplied. We'll look in terrain, and we have got scrub and dunes. So we'll use this material for these dunes. Now that doesn't look quite right, you wouldn't expect them to be green like that. So this is a component that mixes the sandy material with the bit with the sand on top and the green, and that's placing it on the side. So if we edit this and edit the slope filter, we can change the angle of the filter so it brings more sand onto the side of the dune. So we now get this mixture. Obviously the colours of the sand are somewhat different there, so if we go into the texture source editor for this one, we can make this material a bit lighter so it's so it blends better with the sand at the side, which is nearly white. See how that looks? So we've now got this a mixture of smooth sand and this dimpled sand. The dimples might be a bit deep, so I'll lower the bump height so that it's not as dramatic, and I'll reduce the frequency of them slightly so that it'll just change the scale of the pattern to make it less pronounced, so it looks about right for what I'm aiming for. So now we've got our material on the dunes. We'll take this next set of dunes, copy and paste it. I've got both of them, but I can just delete that one it doesn't matter which one I delete, I just need another terrain. And if I copy and paste, then I've already got the solid setting and the resolution set. As it happens there, I'm going to change the resolution down and use a Mordor. I'm going to create some mountains just for in the distance there. Just need to keep clicking this until something turns up that I like the look of. Ideally I want something in the middle, like perhaps that. Okay, so the edges here will be a problem because they'd create a sheer cliff face. So you can paint the edges down with the brush here. That's one way of dealing with it, probably the best, because if you filter it, the filters tend to operate at 8 bits rather than 16, so you get steps in the terrain. So I'll paint those down and then use mounds to add a bit and take the sharpness off the peaks, and perhaps a bit of eroded, a bit more mounds, take the sharpness off the erosion. We'll have a look how that looks then. So that's going to be our mountains, rather flat at the moment, but we can pump them up a bit, turn it round and just have a quick inspection. So those are in the distance, so we'll push those back a bit like so, and we'll choose a material for those, and we'll go for winter stay distant mountains because it's got snow on the peaks, which might be appropriate for in a desert situation where you've got high mountains. I just keep twizzling this around a bit and see if find something that I feel is appropriate. So those are my mountains in the distance, and I've got my foreground material set up, and I'm not happy with these mountains. I'm going to have another go with the fractal generator.